Hello and welcome to the Today is Your Day show. I'm your host, Jonathan Davis, and I am so excited that you decided to join us tonight. My prayer is that there is something that you get out of tonight. There's a nugget that you grab that helps you realize, you know what, I can do this. I can go forward. I can go after my dreams. I can live this life that I desire. This show is about helping people understand they're not alone. No matter what they've done, God is not mad with them. They can move forward past this. The past is the past, and that's where we need to leave it. And hey, you know what? You being different is okay. You're accepted. You are loved. You are accepted and you are loved. I'm so ecstatic about our guest today. You know, you'll never know. You may see her having lunch with stars. She's making people, politicians, helping people get on platforms. You never know with this young lady. She's amazing in all the gifts and talents that she has. And I'm so honored and elated that she is here today on the Today is Your Day show. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Tonia Gibbons that will be gracing us with her presence today on the show. I'm so excited, and I hope you are. Get your pen and paper ready, because I know she's going to say something that you are going to need to hear. So I welcome you to the Today is Your Day show. Again, welcome to the Today is Your Day show. Again, I'm your host, Jonathan Davis, and I'm so excited and elated that you decided to join us tonight. Definitely want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Proclamation 101 on YouTube. They are our main sponsor for the Today is Your Day show. This Thursday, they are doing the importance of prophetic prayer. That's happening January 25th, 2024. That is tomorrow. At 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, they will be having Pastor Ricky Watson Jr. on the Proclamation 101. Now, I need you to go to YouTube after the show and type in the Proclamation 101 and hit subscribe. Also, hit the bell to make sure you don't miss anything that they have going on. They have some great teachings, great knowledge that they impart in you. And I promise you, your life will never be the same. Another sponsor is A Word and a Song with Montre Roberts. I want you to go to Facebook and go to Montre Roberts. You're going to type that in and find Montre so you can't miss A Word and a Song. They just had one this past Sunday. They do it every third Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I don't want you to miss it. It's a blessing. I promise you it is. And we are so grateful that they are partners with the Today is Your Day show. Also, we have Davis Consultants. Hey, that guy looks familiar. So I want you to know we want to be a part of whatever you have going on. We do life coaching, we do CEO mentorship, business coaching and consulting, and ministry consulting. Listen, you have an idea, you have potential. We want to pull it out. Our job is to make sure you are your best at any aspect. That could be your business, that could be your life. But we are here to help you, your organization or your ministry. We are here to help. So go to our website, www.davisconsultantsgroup.com. That's www.davisconsultantsgroup.com. Listen, if you're looking for some extra clothes to wear, we also have some paraphernalia for the Today is Your Day show, or just knowing that today is your day. Go to the same website, www.davisconsultantsgroup.com. Go to the store and shop and get you a t-shirt, get you a hoodie. Also, get you your ebook, the 31-day daily devotional for the Christian business owner. You can also go to Amazon and get this as a hard copy, a paperback on Amazon. So make sure that you be a blessing not only to yourself, to someone else. So you could buy yourself this book and you could buy it to somebody else. If you don't have a business or organization, that's okay. Be a blessing to somebody else. You say, hey, I want to be a blessing to your business, your organization. You can go to Amazon and get this book, or you can go to our website, www.davisconsultantsgroup.com. I believe in making sure that everyone is healthy around me. And so I've become an ambassador for Plexus. We do things from weight loss to skin products to just making sure you have energy. Go to plexus.com or reach out to me and say, hey, I want to go on this health journey. I want my health to be important to me this year. Reach out to me on Facebook, or you can go to my website and say, send me a chat and say, hey, Jonathan, I want to know about this Plexus. Or if you know my number, you can give me a call and do the same. But I want to make sure the people in my life, or you that I haven't met yet, that I will, are making sure that you are making 2024 a healthy year for you. Also, our sponsors for the Today Is Your Day show moment is Young People Nation podcast. You can catch them every Thursday at 12 noon. They are talking about things, real topics that we need to talk about with our young people that you need to hear. I've watched plenty and listened to plenty, and I've been blessed at my older age. And I believe that it will be a blessing to you. So make sure on Super Thursdays, I call them, at noon Eastern Standard Time, you check out the podcast with Young People Nation. And at 8 p.m., you go over to YouTube. You can check them both out on YouTube. Young People Nation podcast also has a YouTube channel with the same name. I don't want you to miss it. Those are our announcements. Now, let's find out what the Today Is Your Day show moment is. Hey, friend, it's me, accountability. And I know that you need me so much this year. You have made your resolutions, you have written them down, you've put them in your head, that I want to make sure that they come to fruition, that you get it all done this year. I don't want you to end this year upset at yourself. I don't want you to go into next year saying, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Why didn't I? It's all right. I got you. What I want you to do is put down 3 things. You're going to see this post, and I want you to put down 3 things that you want to get done or change this year. And what I'm going to do is, throughout the year, I'm going to check in on you and see if you've gotten started or if you need help on getting started or got those things done. So, follow this rule. Put down at least 3 things that you want to work on, want to get done or change this year. I got you. Again, it's me, accountability. We're going to do this. We're going to rock this year. Remember, today is your day. And today is your day, and you are joining us on the Today Is Your Day show. And I am so excited, y'all. Listen, when she said yes, I was like, all right. She said yes. And as we have gotten closer to the day, I've been so nervous. I'm like, oh no, I got this superstar on the show. So I'm going to bring up the amazing Tonia Gibbons with far more and associates. She does so many other things. She's a talk show host, PR. She'll help you get on the political platforms. Listen, you want it, she can get you there. She can get you there. And I'm so excited and honored that you decided to join us today. Everyone, welcome Tonia Gibbons.
Thank you, Jonathan. And I'm honored, like you on this huge platform, and you're doing things. You've been out of the nation and country. I'm like, where's he going now? And I'm like, oh, he want little old me to be on his show. I'm so excited to be here. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. I didn't give your introduction any justice. So please tell the world and all that are watching that we welcome. Thank you all for being with us tonight. I want you all to understand that this is a conversation we all are having together. So please be active in the comments. Let us know that you are here. But I want you all to also welcome Tonia to the show. So tell us all that you do, because I wrote some stuff down. I thought, I'm not going to try because she does a lot more than this.
I'm quite sure you would have done a very good job. So yes, Tonia Gibbons here, and I wear several hats. I guess I'll start with my most current hat, which is owner of Farmore and Associates. And as you mentioned, we are a public relations and consulting group. I say we're far more than you think and far more than you expect. That's our tagline. Because a lot of times people don't know what they need until you just sit down and have a conversation. So that's that bucket. I also have my own podcast, which is called Tuesday Talks with Tonia. And that derived from an in person meeting that we used to have that I started years ago. I think this is year 7, going on year 7 or 8. I'm losing track. But what happened was moving to Augusta, Georgia. I'm not an original Augustan. Moving to Augusta, Georgia, almost 25 years ago, I ran into something that I hadn't experienced since high school, and that was cliques of women. Women that weren't accepting, women that, said they didn't talk to this one or that. And I just, said, hey, there's got to be a group of women that aren't in competition, but that are willing to support, to encourage, to uplift, to be able to be in a room with other women without being judged, without being criticized, being their true, authentic self. So I created Tuesday Talks with Tonia. We met every other week in person. And right before COVID, a friend of mine who's in radio, Craig Boogie, he's with Foxy 103 here in Augusta. He was following my page on Instagram for some reason and asked, well, hey, what's Tuesday Talks with Tonia? And, I explained it to him. He was like, have you ever thought about doing a podcast? I was like, nope, because first of all, I didn't really know what a podcast was. And at that time, I was like, yeah, no, I was like, I don't know how to do that. He said, listen, you just give me the content, I'll do everything else. So it turned into a podcast. And not long after that, COVID hit. So it worked out perfect. We no longer did in person, we did via Zoom. And he created a YouTube channel for me. He created Audio Mac for me. And so he manages that piece. We're on hiatus right now, but we'll be back. I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm a Gigi. I have 2 amazing godchildren, a god granddaughter. I'm all about community, here locally in Augusta, but I've built relationships across the nation. Formerly worked for the mayor of Augusta, for the city of Augusta, Mayor Hardy Davis. So did that stint for 8 years. I worked for Procter and Gamble for 10 years. So yeah, my background is just, some days I'm like, oh, you did that. Really? I have to remind myself what I've done. So that's just a little bit about me.
Well, my whole point on having you on, one, because you do so many great things and I want people to be a part of whatever you are doing. But in knowing you all these years, I told myself, and I ran out of time to do it, I wanted to just put up all the pictures of you and I. And I mean, y'all, it didn't matter what event we were going to. It could be a luncheon, it could be an after hours thing. Me and Tonia would show up and practically have on the same colors.
Yep. Always.
Day or night.
Great minds think alike.
I'm telling you. And I just thought she was just always so wonderful and kind and giving, but so talented in all that she does. It just seemed as if whatever her hands touched, it, turned to gold, like the word said. So I just wanted to make sure and put you on my platform so others can find out who you are. But in knowing that, and knowing you all these years, you have a story. You have stories that I believe be a blessing to the audience. And I just wanted to know, or wanted people to know who you are. And so when you have to define Tonia, who is that?
Mm-hmm.
Who is that?
Woo! Now, Jesus. Tonia is, I tell people this all the time, I'm a conduit. I'm a connector at heart. It's a natural gift. And I've always been about serving. I'm a servant at heart. That's what I tell people out of the gate. It doesn't matter where I go. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I always find myself helping somebody, doing something for somebody. And that comes from my mom. She raised us that way. I'll never forget. This is a part of my journey, my story. My mom, when I was about 9, and I have a younger sister. She's a year and 11 months younger than me. And then I had a brother who is now deceased. He was 9 years younger than me, 9 years old. So he was a baby. And I remember coming home from school. I was in the 5th grade, and it was this strange lady sleeping on our couch. Like, I'm walking in the house and I'm like, I don't know this lady. thinking somebody just done came in our house. And my mom wasn't there. And so she was at work. I called her. I was like, "Hey, it's a lady on our couch." And she was like, "Oh yeah." She was like, "That's whatever the lady's name. She needed a place to stay. She's gonna be staying." I said, "Well, do you know her?" I'm 9. And I'm like, "Do you know her?" She was like, "Well, no, but it'll be okay. She just needs a place to stay for a few days and we're going." You definitely can't do that in these days and times. But just, watching my mom as a single mom with 3 children, doing her best to raise us, to provide for us. I've been an adult since I was about 4 years old because I had to be. I told someone about 2 weeks ago, I didn't ever really have a real childhood because I was taking care of my siblings or I was helping my mom. I was doing things that adults should be doing. But when you're a single parent, the oldest has to step up. And so that's kind of who Tonia is. I'm a conduit, I'm a connector, I'm a servant. That's my mantra. And people who know me pretty much know that.
What would you define your passion as?
Oh, that's another one. So my passion, and I tell people this all the time because I'm a consultant, and I'm like, your passion is whatever you're willing to do for free. That's your passion. Um, my passion is actually helping people build and grow and be all that I know they can be. Because a lot of times I think, especially in our culture, you're always told what you can't be, what you can't do, what you can't have. And I'm the
Mhm.
opposite. No, you can do this. You can go here. You can be whatever you want to be. And so I think my passion is really creating great people, supporting great people, building great people. That's my passion, which is kind of why I started my business, Far More and Associates. I figured if I could help the politicians I've helped get to where they are, the different organizations I've been a part of, if I've been a blessing and helped people build businesses and build their dreams, then why not build my own dream? Why not package everything that I've learned, create my own business? And that's kind of what I did with Far More and Associates. I've been, when I tell you, I thought about it. So this year, I will have been working actually for 40 years. And I know I look young. Thank you.
You look
Um,
young.
Honestly, I started working when I was 14 years old,
Wow.
and it was my first paying job. I worked for a fast food restaurant in Indiana, which is where I'm from, called Famous Recipe. Started the job at 14 years old, and I also worked part-time for my youth pastor. I was, typing up his notes and all kind of other stuff. So yeah, I've been working since I was 14 years old. So almost this year will be 40 years that I've been working. So you name it, I've probably done it. I've done banking, I've done fast food, manufacturing. I did an answering service when I lived in Myrtle Beach. And I just think about all those things. And so what I did was created kind of my own toolbox to help me build my business and to help
That's awesome.
others build their businesses.
Mhm. How did you transition? Because I know you had talked about your work for Procter and Gamble. Like, how did you transition from there to helping people be politicians?
So funny story. So the former mayor, Mayor Hardy Davis of Augusta, he was my pastor first. So that's a lot something people don't know. He was my pastor before he was a politician, before he was anything. We've been rocking and rolling for 20 years. And so when I was at Procter and Gamble, he came to me one day and said, "Hey, I'm going to run for this." It was a state rep seat at first, and I was like, okay." Never dealt in politics a day in my life. Didn't have a clue. I don't think I had even voted at that point. So I was like, "Okay, I'll volunteer." Now, mind you, I worked 12-hour shifts at Procter and Gamble. And so I started working, volunteering on the campaign, making phone calls and putting together teams to go out into the streets. Didn't have a clue. I was learning. It was on the job training for me. So we ran that race and we won. So the next time he comes around, he says, "Hey, I'm going to run for state senate." So I was like, "Okay, I'm on board again." So the third time he calls me in his office one day at church and says, "Hey, I'm going to run for mayor." what do you think? And I was like, why would you do that? You're in the Capitol. You're the state senator. Why would you come back to Augusta? I was like, that seemed backwards. And when I finished saying what I said, I thought about it and I said, you know what? What did God say? And so he said, well, God says, and I said, well, then hey, that means we doing it. I was still at Procter and Gamble, getting off night shift, 7:30 in the morning, going to put on a t-shirt, holding the signs in the winter on corners and just all kind of stuff. Little did I know that in probably about a month and a half after he came to me with that, Procter and Gamble came with the announcement that they were shutting our manufacturing site down here in Augusta, Georgia. The plant had been in existence here in Augusta for 50 years. We were one of two manufacturing sites left that made dry laundry detergent. So, can you imagine me with steel toe boots and stuff on my hair and people like I can't imagine. So, yeah, I was actually in manufacturing for 8 years. I was doing that shift work, rotating shifts. The last 3 years of my career at Procter and Gamble, I actually transitioned to where I was in a daytime role, working in an office. The last 2 years, I was actually a part of the HR transition team that supported all the employees that had to make a decision. Are you going to stay with the company and move? Are you going to take a separation package and leave the company? Or if you're close to retirement, what does that look like? How do we help you? And then also helping people that wanted to do, Procter & Gamble did something unprecedented. They allowed every employee an opportunity to go to 3 locations out of 23. You could take whoever was in your household. If you had your wife, your mom, your sister, whoever was in, they paid for all of that. So I was a part of the team that helped them kind of create the plan for each employee to be able to take 3 look-see visits. And so I had to make a decision. Do I stay with Procter and Gamble and move? Because we had other sites, but none were, I think there was a couple in Georgia, but really at that point I had been in Augusta. I moved here in 99. So I had been in Augusta a little over 10 years. And I was like, you know what? I've moved around my whole life. This is somewhere that I said I was going to stay. I wasn't going to keep moving, picking up, going from city to city, state to state. And I said, well, I'm going to stay here. They thought I was crazy. They thought, you're going to walk away from Procter & Gamble. You've been with them 10 years. You're vested. You're making all this money and you're going to walk away. And I said, you know what? Yeah, God going to take care of me. And then it was the fear of staying in Augusta and having to start all over with a job and this, that, and the other. And then with Hardy, I was like, well, Hardy's running for mayor. And they're like, yeah, but he's running. You don't know if he's going to win. So if he doesn't win, you won't have a job. And I was like, well, it's just going to be me and him and the Lord then, I guess, So really stepped out on faith and say, God, I'm going to trust you. Because every time I thought about moving, my stomach just went crazy. So I didn't have peace. And one thing that Hardy as a pastor always preached to us is, you're doing the right thing when there's peace, when there's progress, and when there's provision. And since I didn't have peace, I was like, yep, not going. And so I took a separation package. We ran our race and we won. So yeah, that's how I transitioned into the world of politics full time.
Let's you brought up a topic of where I know a lot of people are in their lives, and I mean I talk about it with clients as well. It's like in that place of trust, of not knowing what's to come. I mean, because you didn't know. I mean, it was all right. Yeah, I'm doing this. I feel like I should. I have peace about it, but I don't know if this is going to turn out well. Like, talk to someone that is watching, that is in this place of, I got these opportunities here, but I know, or any of it, like, how do I stay in this place of trust, not knowing the outcome, not knowing, what's going to happen? How would you recommend somebody stay in this place of trust?
So I think for me, trust is something that's hard to gain, right? No matter who it is, whether we're trusting each other, whether we're trusting God, whether we're trusting whatever situation we may be in. So for me, it was an internal thing like, hey, the older you get, you have to make different decisions and you can't always trust what you see because, the word tells us that, we have to believe those things that are not as though they were. And so if I'm a believer, which I am, And if I confess his word, either I believe him. This is one thing that Hardy challenged me on one day when I told him that I don't know if I should stay or go with Procter and Gamble. And he said, "What did you tell me? A couple months ago." I said that I didn't want to move, that I wanted to stay in Augusta, that I want to have roots. I didn't want to be like my mom because my mom was more like a gypsy. We wake up in the middle of the night. Oh, we're moving to Memphis. What? We got school tomorrow. So I didn't want to be that person. And I told him, I said, I want to stay here. And so he reminded me, he says, so either you believe God or you don't. He said, because God is not schizophrenic. If he told you something. And so ever since he said that to me, my trust in God increased because he was right. Either I believed the word, either I believed what I had read, either I believed what I had experienced with God, or I didn't. And so it was scary. I'm not going to lie. It was scary not knowing. It was scary, the unknown, because you're right. If he doesn't win, where am I? If he doesn't win, I have to go look for another job somewhere and start from ground zero. But you know what? Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes we need to start over because we get too comfortable and complacent. And this story with Procter and Gamble was when I first moved to Augusta. It was Masters Week 1999. I came to visit my dad. He's retired and he moved here, and I was living in Myrtle Beach. And he invited me to come visit Augusta. I never heard of Augusta, didn't know where Augusta existed. Came and drove by the plant because my dad lives South Augusta. And as we're driving by Procter and Gamble, I was like, Procter and Gamble, just making a comment. And he was like, oh yeah, that's Procter and Gamble. You'll never work there because those people don't never leave those jobs. The only time they leave is when they die. And I was like, well, I don't want to work there anyway. I don't want to work in manufacturing. That's, like, 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 And so the irony of that is when I did get the job, it was actually by accident. I was married at the time, and my ex-husband and I were at the library downtown. I'll never forget. We're filling out applications online, and he was filling out for a project. But they had a technician, and I was like, I don't want to work on a technician. I want an office job. I want something in the air conditioning and be able to dress up. And he asked me to finish. No, I started his application form, but I got to a place where I couldn't finish. So I said, here, you're going to have to finish. And then I just, on a whim, just started my own application. I got a call. He didn't. I got hired. He didn't. And when I got hired, I was working at the sheriff's office, Richmond County Sheriff's Office. I was in records. And you're like, what? I've done some of everything. And so I got the job, and it's so funny. I'm friends to this day with the HR manager that hired me. We're in our interview, and this was my second interview. First of all, I didn't know I was going to make it because there's a test that's like 3 hours long, and it had a lot of math, and I don't like math. I got a D in math in high school, so I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna flunk this. They ain't gonna call me. So, but I did, and they did. And I'm in the interview, and his name is Tim Williams Sr. And he says, so we want to offer you the position. I was like, oh. I said, well, you do know I don't have experience. He was like, yeah, we know. And so he said something else. I said, well, you do understand that I've never done. He said, are you trying to talk yourself out of a job? I was like, I just want y'all to know what you're getting because I don't want you to think I know more than what I say I know. So when I started the job, and we did the onboarding process, you in a classroom with other people that got hired around the same time. It's lovely. 7 to 3, you go home, but then you go to your department. I had no idea what I was in for. The first, no lie, the first probably 30 days, every day I went home, I was crying. I was like, Lord, I made a mistake. I should have stayed where I was at. This is too hard. I can't do this. And he said, be still. I was like, I'm only doing this for 5 years. I can't see myself doing this longer. 5 years came and went. I got comfortable. I got complacent. The money was amazing. The perks were amazing. Now, the work was hard. It was. But it afforded me a lifestyle that I hadn't been accustomed to. And so I was living life, loving it. And that 10-year came when it was time to make a decision to stay with the company and leave. And I was like, oh, Jesus. Leaving from making almost $80,000 a year back then to the unknown. was scary, but I held tight to my faith. It was really a faith walk, really, really a faith walk.
Let's talk about that. Because I feel like that is something we had talked about on the last show, how we get to these places where we are comfortable
Mm-hmm.
and we are complacent
Mm-hmm.
and not knowing that, we're supposed to be going from glory to glory, it's supposed to go higher and higher, but we get
Yeah.
to this place that we're good. Like,
Mm-hmm.
all this while you're making this money, you don't learn this job. Well, of course, by 10 years, I would hope you learned it by now. And
Yeah.
but things were good. But even though there's always that small voice or that pull that's saying, your time is coming up here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We ignore
Mm-hmm.
it. We ignore
Yeah,
it.
we do.
What do you think about
We
that?
do. We do. We ignore it because we want what we want. And when we get comfortable, it's like, yeah, it may not be where I really want to be. This is because at the end of the day, is that really your goal? My goal was never to work for somebody for the rest of my life. I knew that. However, the money was good. That was a sure check. And even during my time there, one of my managers, we were having a conversation one day about me starting my business. Because even back then, I was going to start my own event planning business because I was really good at events. I was able to do it with the company. People started calling me Miss PR when I was working for Procter and Gamble because I would be the one showing up to Women in Business and the Alpha Breakfast and everything that was outward facing. I would be the one representing Procter and Gamble. So people started calling me Miss PR at the plant. But when I was there and, thinking about, okay, you said you want to work for yourself. He said, but as long as you have a paycheck, that's not really going to be your priority, because you could do it if you want to, or you don't have to because you got money coming in. He said, I guarantee you, if you walk away from this job and that's the way you eat and that's the way you pay your bills, you'll work hard to make sure that it's successful. But he was right. I was afraid back then to step out on faith because I was like, what if I'm not successful? What if I can't get customers? What if people, just all these what ifs. And so I just dibble dabbled on the side with it, but never really did anything with it. And so I think for me, God was like, okay, you said you really want to do this, that you want to work for yourself. I said that since I was probably about 7 or 8 years old. I already knew that I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to be the boss. But because we don't really have the faith that we say we do, we don't do it. And so it was a challenge. It was like, okay, put your money where your mouth is. And like Hardy said, either you believe him or you don't. And so that journey taught me a whole lot about trusting God and not being complacent. And if I really want to be what I say I want to be, then I got to put in some work too. I got to put skin in the game and I got to trust. That's the bottom line. What is your trust like?
That's good. Let me ask you this on even in the emotional and battling with the trust, because at that time, or you can paint the picture better, you were married. There was 2 of y'all. And now we're even leaning, because I see people in the comments and I know, and knowing stories of you and them, it's like there's also a trust that has to come in there and knowing, okay, what am I going to do?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think too, for me at that time, Procter & Gamble, this was 2013 that we got the announcement. Was it 2013? Yeah, it was 2011, 12, because my last day there was 2013, because 2023 was made 10 years that I had been gone from Procter & Gamble. And I was like, whoa, that was like, wow, 10 years I've been separated from this company. Thought I wasn't gonna make it. Full transparency, during that time, so 2008, January, I'm at work I think I was on second shift, so it must have been 3 to 11. And I normally kept my cell phone on me, but for whatever reason this night, I put it in the locker room, in the ladies' room. On one of my breaks, I go to the locker room and my mom has left me like 5 messages. And I'm like, what in the world? Listen to the message. And she was like, call me ASP. And not knowing what was wrong, I was like, she don't even know how to say it. It's ASAP, being smart. So I call her back. You know how we are. It ain't ASP. It's ASAP, lady.
Right.
So I call her back. And this was January 17, 2008. And I call her back, and she answers the phone and she says, "They found your brother." And I was like, "Okay, what? Find him where? What was he doing? Where he at?" And she says, "They found him. He's dead." And I was like, "Wait, what? Say that again." She was like, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" She was like, "I got a phone call from the police. My brother was living in Lawton, Oklahoma at the time, which is where I was born. My mom had just moved to Arizona. I'm here in Augusta. My sister is in Arizona. I mean, in Colorado." So my mom says, "Yeah, I got a call. They said they found his body in this big empty field in a rural area of Lawton." I blacked out. All I remember after that is two guys that I worked with that anytime something was wrong with me, everybody always called them. They was like, they her brothers, they her keepers, Ron Brown and Vince Robinson. Vince Robinson is actually Hardy's brother-in-law. We started Procter and Gamble at the same time, so we started out of the gate close. The next thing I know, they're taking me into an office space because I'm hyperventilating, can't breathe. They don't know what's wrong. I'm crying. I can't tell them what's wrong because I'm just so. Vince, my ex-husband's name was Vince. Vince Robinson gets my phone and calls my ex-husband and says, "Hey, I don't know what's going on. Tonia is crying, hyperventilating. We don't know what was wrong. You need to come get her." It was storming that night, storming so bad. And then the next call he made was to Hardy, because Hardy was my pastor. "Hey, Hardy, this is what's going on. We don't know what it is. Tonia's blah, blah, blah." I lived, the plant was on Highway 56 for those that live in Augusta, Mike Paget Highway. I lived in South Augusta off of Tobacco Road. It literally took me 10 minutes to get to my house. It took my husband 45 minutes to come get me. Hardy and his wife then at the time came and were at my job within 15 minutes of the phone call. They took my car. I had rode to work on E. They filled my car up and they met me at the house. They had called some other folks to meet them at the house. By the time he got there, I finally was able to tell them what had happened. And so I get home and I just don't know what to do. Like, you get that kind of news, and this is your brother, your baby that you've helped raise, and I just, yeah, was in a terrible place. And so we got through that. And so that was 2008. But in that, there was an epiphany because I had been married. I got married when I was 19 years old. So by the time this happened, my matter of fact, I had just had my anniversary. We were married 18 years. But I always knew that I was with the wrong person. But I just was hard headed and thinking, "Oh, I can make it work. It's going to be all right." The word says, "How can two walk together unless they agree?" And he did not agree with the word. So that was a problem. But I kept trying to do the right thing, stay married, make it work, all that good stuff. Yeah. Mm-mm. So the epiphany came, once I got through that, and just the way he responded or didn't respond, and the way he wasn't supportive, and all the things that kind of unfolded after that. My epiphany, I went to Hardy. I said, "Hey, I'm going to file for divorce." And Hardy, being a pastor, man of faith, he was like, "Tonia, I understand where you're coming from." He said, "We don't necessarily advocate divorce, but we advocate for the well-being of you. And if that's what you decide to do, we're going to be beside you." And so my brother killed in January. April, I filed for divorce. I was divorced by November. And, even having a spouse working at a place like that, making that money, and, you do have a spouse, I was carrying the load. I was paying all the bills. Everything was in my name. He wasn't really contributing. So for me, that didn't really play into me deciding to leave my job, because at that time I was divorced by that time. So it really didn't play a part in it at all.
And being in that place, what did that do for you emotionally then? And walking that out?
You know, you never know how strong you are until you gotta be.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that even while at Procter and Gamble, because during that time, I took off the time. I planned my brother's funeral. I had his body flown here. I had to take the lead. His father hadn't been a part of his life. And the funny story is, the day after I found all this out, I'm calling everybody, family from all over the country. And one of my girlfriends, I said, hey, I need to find his dad and notify him that, hey, your son is gone. And one of my girls, now, mind you, we've been looking for this man for years, never could find him. My girlfriend got online and found this man like in an hour, made a phone call to his house, made a phone call to his job. I was like, we've been looking for this man for years. How you, Inspector Gadget, did you find this man? So emotionally, I kind of shut down a little bit, but I knew I had to keep going. I didn't have an option. What option did I have? I didn't have anybody to fall back on. I, I I didn't have anybody to take care of me. You know, I've always been a very independent person because I had to be. I've always had to be strong for everybody else, so I had to be strong for myself. It was tough, you know. With some days I didn't know if I was coming or going, but working at Procter and Gamble, I was a part of a group. I went to this training called People Supporting People in Cincinnati, Ohio. Came back, said we need to do it at the plant, and I had that going on. And so afterwards, you know, I did a present. One of my, I was a, oh Lord, I was one of the facilitators, and one of my things that I facilitated was called life mapping. With a life map, you take a poster board, you put a line in the middle, you number the years as far as you could remember back. You know, was it a positive experience or a negative? And when I mapped out my life and I presented it to the class that was there, because everybody had to do one, everybody was crying by the time I finished mine because I shared, and they were like, this whole time you've been going through all of this stuff and we never knew because you came to work with a smile on your face. You were always helpful. You never missed a beat. Like, how did you do that? I had to. I didn't have any options. I had to kind of just suck it up and keep it moving. And that's always been one of my mantras. And it may not be the best mantra. You know, they was like, well, you didn't get any mental health counseling. And back then, you know, it wasn't really a thing like that. And I've never felt comfortable enough to share a lot of that stuff with people. And it was things were compounding in the midst of all of that too. We had a death on the job and all these other things. And they brought in counselors at that time for us. I went and talked to this lady for about 40 minutes. She was crying by the time I left. Hey, what good are you?
I can't be your help.
Right. That's not helpful. So, but you know, the mental piece, it was draining. It was, you know, trying to keep a happy face on, trying to keep up a facade that you're okay, not wanting people to know you're struggling because at the end of the day, you still got to pay bills, you still got to eat, you still got to live, and so just push through it. And I say this in all honesty and candor that when he said his grace is sufficient, that's exactly what he means, because I'm a testimony to that. His grace was truly sufficient. I never understood what that meant until till stuff like that happened to me. Never understood it until then.
Because I my when God told me to start the show, and I even said this at the beginning, I always believe that there's always something that whoever my guest is has gone through. Somebody that's watching is either going through it or has gone through it as well. And so, and I always want people to know, hey, if they survived it, so can you. What would you
Absolutely.
share with somebody that's watching that is either going through this or in the verge of it or trying to, you know, filter through this? What would you tell them to help them get to a place where, you know what, you can do this, you'll be fine?
Mhm. Keep going. And at the end of the day, he said, yea, though I walk through the valley, they
Mhm.
ain't stop, because if you stop, you're gonna get stuck. So continue on, whatever that looks like for you. And I'm not saying it's easy, not by any means, but what I am saying is if you have faith that you say you have, because he said we have to have faith as big as the size of a mustard seed. And if we faint in the day of adversity, our faith is weak. I mean, again, that's his word. And if we know his word and we profess his word and we confess that we're his, then we have to believe that. Like, I think about so many people that go through even worse things that I've gone through, how do they make it? And if I can help just one, I mean, and I told somebody, we had a conversation the other day. I said, the things that you go through is not for you. It is not for you. You go through things because when there's a time to minister to somebody, you will be able to share and engage and really understand where they're coming from. I can't talk to a drug addict about how to get off drugs because I've never been on drugs. But what I can do is talk to somebody about homelessness, um, abuse from a spouse. I could talk about losing a house. I could talk about, so many things that I've experienced in my life. And at first I took it personal, like, God, why this happening to me? I'm trying to do right, I'm trying to live right. And then you get to a point where, you know what, just forget it. If living right ain't gonna get me what I need, then why do it? But you kind of get that. You start getting fly in the mouth with God, like, well, if you ain't gonna do this, because I know me. I said, God, you know your child, you know my attitude, some days I know he'd be like, this chick. I just can't with this chick, but I'm honest. And he knows how we feel anyway. So there's no need in hiding, no need in pretending. Be who you are. Confess what you confess to him, because at the end of the day, he already know. He already know everything. So why am I going to try to hide and pretend? But at the end of the day, trust him to get you where you need to be. So if you're in this position or if you're in something similar, just keep going. Keep trusting. Surround yourself with people that can help you and encourage you. I isolated a lot of people. I did. And I'll never forget the day I was in the midst of Tuesday Talks, went one day and was just so burdened and heavy because I had got a foreclosure notice on my house. This was after the divorce, after all this other stuff, working in the mayor's office. And I was just distraught. I was like, I can't let nobody know I'm about to lose my house. I work for the mayor. Like, you have these things that you feel like people have expectations of you, like, oh, every time I see Tonia, she's this, but not knowing the inward struggles and not knowing what goes on in your house. And I went to Tuesday Talks, and there was about 6 women in the room, 7. And I was like, y'all, I got to tell y'all something. And I'm just crying. And they were like, what? You having an affair with the, like, they coming up with all these stories. I was like, what?
I see what y'all think of me.
Right. I was like, no, my house is under foreclosure. And they was like, oh, girl, that ain't nothing. What? And so everybody, the majority of the people in the room, like, oh yeah, all you got to do is file bankruptcy. All you got to do is this. This happened to me, and this is what I did. I was like, what? So that's the community you need to create for yourself. That's why Tuesday Talks existed, because these women were like, girl, that ain't nothing. Versus, ooh, child, did you know Tanya's house got? I didn't hear about it from nobody else. Nobody ever, they asked what could they do. They were trying to give me resources, but it was never any judgment, never any shame, none of that, which is what Tuesday Talks with Tonia was all about, is creating a platform, a safe space for women to share, to be honest, to be, open to folks, because we need that. We struggle day to day. We have so many struggles. And a lot of times people are battling things. You have no idea what people are going through. And so be a safe space for somebody and create those relationships for yourself when you need that, because when you don't have that, it's hard. It's really hard.
There was a question in the comment section, but I definitely want to share that, people don't understand that there's so much behind a smile. Mm-hmm. There's so much behind a smile, and you never know what someone else is going through. Mm-hmm. And so we look at people and, we sit in these judgmental chairs and look down. And then when somebody has some hard times of any sort, we want to sit in the judgment seat instead of realizing, you know what, that could be me.
Yep.
Just like that. That
easily,
could be me.
Easily.
Donna Perry says, Tonia is so gifted in many areas. Is it hard for her to focus?
Oh, wow. Thank you, Donna. I appreciate that.
This whole thing.
Huh?
Said Donna's been singing your praises through this whole show.
Thank you. So sometimes it is hard to focus. Sometimes I get distracted because I tend to say yes a lot. And I had a couple of years where I said, you know what? I'm gonna start saying no, because people will ask you and they will take from you and pull from you. And because of my heart, I just say yes. But then I had to kind of reel that back, because God was like, everything is not for you, and you don't have to do everything. And I focus when I need to focus. So, for instance, I have the business side, I have the podcast, which is why I took a hiatus from the podcast, because I was doing so many other things and I just didn't really have the time to devote the quality time that I needed to it. So, if I'm not going to do it right, then let me just let it sit for a minute. And I'm doing a revamp and a rebrand, because I really want to do it bigger and better, like you said, from glory to glory. And so, yes, it's hard to focus sometimes, but what I've learned to do is carve out time for certain things and try to stick to that. Now, I don't always work, to be honest,
Right.
but I make it work for me.
What well, even the old ones, how can people find it? Find your old
Oh,
podcast?
on YouTube, Tuesday Talks with Tonya. It has a purple icon with two ladies like talking, or Audio Mac. If you want just audio, you can look at Audio Mac.
Hmm.
Yes, I see what Donna just said. Use you, drain you, not support you. You're at all of that. I'm in my ebonics. All of that. All of that.
How could you share with somebody on how to walk through that? Because I know, I mean, I get it too. And also sometimes being an entrepreneur, you want that money to come in, because if you
Yeah,
don't work, you don't eat, and it's
that's
so,
right.
okay,
That's
you want me
right.
to do that? I can do that too. I can do that too. How do you help someone practice the no?
It's hard. So what I've learned to do now is, once I have an encounter with somebody and figure out what it is they're trying to do, you got to use your discernment too, because you know what? A lot of times what look good ain't always good for you, you know. And I had to learn that the hard way, because again, you say yes to everything because I got bills to pay, but then you get this client and they decline from HE double hockey sticks, and you like, what in the entire, yeah, this ain't for me. This ain't, me and my friends have a run of the, Jesus didn't die for that. So, he
Right.
didn't die for me to go through this foolishness. And so for me, practicing the no is, does it make sense? Does it feel right? Does it make money? Because in 2024, if it don't make sense, if it don't feel right, if it don't make me no money, I ain't doing it.
I know.
And I'm just as polite. And no is a complete sentence. No, I don't owe you no explanation. It's just no. And a lot of times what we get caught in is, if it's somebody that's, maybe it's your parent or a sibling or a best friend or a boss, um, remove the title. If that person wasn't husband, spouse, blah, 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 whatever, if that wasn't their title, what would your response be? What would your reaction be? And act accordingly.
I hear that. Montre Robert said, this is helping me. Discernment is vital.
Yes.
Evangelist or Pastor Ricky says, Jesus didn't die for this. That is hilarious. I'm still in that. He didn't die for it.
He did not. He did not. No,
You're
he
right.
didn't. No, he
Watson
didn't.
Jr. So, I mean, being a person that does have an issue sometimes saying no, you have to continuously tell yourself, no,
You
it's
do.
okay. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
if I don't feel I should do it right now, they should be okay with me saying no. And if they have an issue with me saying no, then maybe
That
I
ain't
don't
my
need them in my life.
problem. That ain't my problem. If they got an issue, that is not my problem. You have an issue. I don't. That's your problem.
Right.
Take it up with Jesus.
Class 1 says, come on, remove the title. No is a complete sentence.
Mm-hmm.
See, I told y'all she's going to be dropping some gems tonight. Dropping some gems. I want definitely before we get out, I want you to tell people how they can get connected with you. I mean, you do talks, you help them build their business, help them get on platforms. Let them know how people can get in contact with you.
Absolutely. I'm on Facebook. My personal Facebook is Tonia Gibbons. And Tonia is spelled different because my mom was different and I'm different. I'm like a unicorn. So it's Tonia, Tonia Gibbons, Gibbons. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Tonia Gibbons. You can find me on Instagram as Tuesday Talks with Tonia. You can find me on Facebook as Tuesday Talks with Tonia. You can also find me on Facebook as Farmore and Associates, which is my business page. And you can visit my website, which is www.farmoreandassociates, all spelled out.com. Far is Farr. And the thing is with that, Farr is my maiden name. So people are like, how did you come up with that name? That's my maiden name. And I kept my married name because I had it for too long. I had it for 18 years and I didn't want to change all that paperwork. So I was like, you know what? Everybody that's in Augusta knows Tonia Gibbons. All my family and friends in Indiana and back home, they know Tonia Farr, but everybody know who I am. So I kept the married name just because I didn't want to do all that paperwork. So yeah.
Listen, Tina Turner said you can have everything. I want my name. Want my name.
Yes.
Tonia said I want my
name. I didn't even want it. It was just I didn't want to do the work to not have it.
I got to go 2 months to get all this paperwork changed.
Yeah.
Tonia, a lot of our young women I have encountered stay in abusive marriages. Have you thought of a community event, and especially for women in the church?
That's a good question. I definitely could see a need, especially so I worked as a volunteer with Safe Homes when I first moved to Augusta. Mm-hmm. And so I saw that up front and up close, and even as I was going through it myself. And I've definitely dealt with a lot of women, especially being a part of the mayor's office. And my role was community outreach, and I've always had people drawn to me. And I think they're drawn to you because they feel something in you that is similar. And so that's a good question. It's something I probably should consider. Y'all, I have so many ideas. I think big. And then sometimes I have to talk myself out of stuff because I don't want to overwhelm myself or overcommit. And so I have literally like 3 events that I want to put on this year. And I'm like, oh, how you going to do that, girl? But it's going to happen because I'm believing Jesus for it. I am.
That's right.
Faith without works is dead. Yeah, exactly.
We still in the first.
So Donna, maybe it's something me and you can team up and do.
Donna's awesome. So, and our community, we love to support. So you have anything, come back on the show, talk about it. We're going to be there. We're going to be there.
I appreciate it.
We're going to take a quick break to hear from a sponsor, and then we'll be right back with closing remarks from Tonia Gibbons.
I'm Eugene Perry.
I'm Donna Perry, and we're the host
of Young People Nation
podcast.
We know that mental health is way too stigmatized. Young people are hurting. They are in dark places, just wanting to feel heard.
That's why we're bringing no judgment conversations with the guests who have been there, done that, and want to share their experiences in an environment with transparency, healing, and safety.
So tune in and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And just remember,
there's always hope.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dr. Loso here, and the wait is finally over. My plan book, the Ultimate Career Plan book, is available on Amazon, and I would love for you guys to go and check this out. If you want to get a preview of what's in this plan book, you can go to my website, careerinsights501.com, and then go to the books section, and then there's a link for you to click on a preview of this plan book, and it'll give you about 20 pages or so of what's inside this plan book, so you can get a better idea of what you could potentially be purchasing. But yeah, there's a lot of great stuff in here. Over 350 pages of just awesome plan sheets for you to go in here and to plan out your career. Or you can get, I think this is a great gift for high school students. The earlier the better to start planning out their careers, determining things like what CTE programs they might want to take part in, and helping them figure out what CTE programs, for example, they might want to enroll in to cater towards their career goals. But Again, very excited. This is in, and it is a great resource for everybody, but again, is most beneficial to high school students. So check it out. Make a great Christmas gift, birthday gift, graduation gift, all those good things. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments, DM me. You can find me on social media at Career Insights 501 on basically all the things. Look forward to reading the reviews to hear what you all have to say about the plan book. And until next time, keep your dreams in sight. Peace.
I want to thank again our sponsors, the Proclamation 101. They'll be having the importance of prophetic prayer tomorrow. That's happening January 25th, 2024, time 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want you to head over to YouTube and check out the Proclamation 101. This is a time you don't want to miss. Also, head to Facebook and look up Montre Roberts. That's Montra Roberts with a word and a song. You can catch them every third Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so I want to make sure that we gave the amazing Tonia Gibbons a chance to give some parting words. I know, again, I want you to tell them one more time, those that may have just joined on, how to get in contact with you on all the great things that you're doing and how you can be a blessing to them. Tell them that, and then I'll ask you another question, and then we'll get out of here.
All right. So you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram as Tuesday Talks with Tonia, Tonia. There's a purple icon. You can find me on Facebook, Tuesday Talks with Tonia, Farmore and Associates, which is my business page, or Tonia Gibbons in parentheses FAR. And you can also visit my website, www.farmoreandassociates.com. And there you can see kind of some of the things I've done, some of the people I've worked with, things that I can do, will do, those types of things.
Awesome. So make sure that you all reach out to her so she can be a blessing to you, not only personally, but to your business and organization. And as we talked about your events, Donna Perry said, I can bring a team. So
okay.
Listen, we got full quotas in this year. I'm just throwing that out there to let you know.
We do.
People. Even Montre Roberts said, yes, team up, count me in. So look.
Awesome.
Excuse Tonia. People need offer. You are a blessing to the nation.
Oh, thank you.
That you do just that. I want you to just share or whatever you want people to know that are watching, or that will watch. Just something, a lasting word to give them on all the things or any of the things that you've gone through to help them continue to move forward.
I think one of my biggest things is always bet on you. We bet on so many other people. We bet on so many other things. Bet on you. Bet on you, because if you don't, who will? And I'm a strong believer. That's why I stepped out on faith and started my business, even while I had a full-time job in the mayor's office. I said, you know what? I'm a bet on me. I've helped so many people reach their goals and build their dreams. And hey, it's time for me to bet on me and do the same thing. So I encourage everyone, bet on yourself. It's not selfish. It's what you should do, because the more you do for you, the better you become, the more you can help somebody else. And one of my taglines it used to be on all my emails. I took it off because I don't want people to think I'm vain. But one of my taglines is and still is, I'm destined for greatness. How about you?
That's good. I know I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I should steal that too.
Yes, you can. Yep, you can steal it, borrow it, whatever you want to do. Yep, absolutely.
Because I am destined for greatness, just like you,
Absolutely.
And just like those that are watching.
Everybody is destined. That's our destiny.
Yeah,
that's our destiny. We just have to trust and believe that it belongs to us and that we can. And so I'm destined, and they should be destined for greatness, because that's the plan that God has for each and every one of us.
That's right. They said, I am too. Montre Roberts, Donna Perry, Classy. They said they are too. They're destined for greatness.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
And I am so grateful. Proclaim the word also says destined for greatness. How about you? She said,
How about you?
repeat it too. I
Yeah.
love it. I definitely want to thank you, Tonya, for coming on the Today Is Your Day show and gracing us with your presence and your nuggets of wisdom and also being vulnerable and sharing your story. I do believe, as I always believe, that in my prayer is that when people watch this show, there's something that they gain from it, but they also understand that they're not alone. They're not alone. And if the person talking has survived it and gone through this, so can they.
Absolutely. We are overcomers by faith and by the word of our testimony.
Testimony. Listen, you better give the word this whole show. That's what I'm talking about.
Hey.
I love it. That's what we got. That's all we have to stand on. That's all we have to stand on.
That
if
is.
stand on that, I promise you'll see the outcome you desire.
You're going to be all right.
We shall. We shall. Again, thank you. Thank you all that have been in the comments, been active, and joining in the conversation.
Yes, thank you to your audience. They were amazing. Thank you, everyone, for your comments and kind words. I really appreciate it.
I want to make sure that you all reach out to her because she can be a blessing to your organization, your business, and to you in some way. So make sure you reach out. What's that website again?
www.farmoreandassociates, all spelled out, FARRMOREANDASSOCIATES.com.
Love it, love it, love it. And so we will definitely have you back because you're going to have these events coming up.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that the audience knows so they can be in participation.
We'll keep you in the loop.
Thank you so much. And also looking, those that are watching, we're also opening for some more sponsors. So if you want to be a sponsor for the Today Is Your Day show, we are welcoming it. Just reach out to me via Facebook or my website, www.davisconsultantsgroup.com. We would love to have you to be a blessing to the show, but I will make sure personally that everyone knows who you are and all that you do. So think about it, pray on it. And when God tells you yes, reach out to me. All right. Well, we'll be having a show very soon. So be on the lookout for our next show. But I want you to always know it doesn't have to be your birthday for today to be your day.